Well, first we got to get this out of the way. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Cheers. Go. So, I've had a lot of questions lately about several topics on the Mule stabilizer, my product line, my company, and you know, I've always wanted to just solve problems. That's what I did when I first built this thing, and I'll show you. If most of y'all know, but some of y'all don't. But here's number one, right? So I was out hunting in the mountains out west in 2017, 2018, and I was carrying my bow for miles and miles and miles in the back country, and you know, I had this stabilizer on there, and if y'all look real close, got these little knobby things on there. Well, after carrying your bow after a while, this thing was just digging in both sides, and it had that little irritation. So I took this stick right here that I found. This is the original stick right here, and zip tied it on there, and then wrapped that thing in electrical tape. And when I grabbed a hold of my bow, I was like, man, that feels so much better. So boom, obviously the light bulb went off. So you know, I came home and I built one just out of scraps I had laying around the shop, and I wrapped it in paracord just so I had some padding on there. And you know, I had that on my bow for 2 years, and every time, everywhere I went to, people would like look at it and they just stare at. I'm like, what are y'all looking at, you know? And they'd be like, what is that weird ugly looking thing on the front of your bow? Everybody said, what's that V thing on your bow? And I would show them, and they would just stand there like most of y'all have done if y'all have seen it in person or used it or seen me demonstrate what it can do. That light bulb goes off. Why haven't I thought of that? You know, I've had that so many times. And honestly, I don't know. I mean, it's such a simple idea, and now it's evolved into what it is today. But man, simple ideas to me are what makes this country, right? It's just things that work, things that you can stand behind, and just things that everyday people like us, like bow hunters, can use, and it's actually going to work. So the Mule stabilizer, guys, I've been wanting to do, kind of sit down and do an in-depth review on it, and this is going to be a portion of this review is probably going to be a little longer. I'm going to probably break it down into stages, because there's so much that goes into this thing, and everything that I've done to it now, all the way to the MACH 7. So this is the new MACH 7. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But anyways, guys, the Mule stabilizer was built the first time, as I just showed y'all, to help me carry my bow when I'm walking in the backcountry. So having that saddle right there, you know, I tell people this thing's got 24 different functions, right? I had to like write them down so I remember all of them, just because there's so many. And now, you know, when you get out there in the field or in the pasture, in the mountains, whatever it is, you learn more things that it can do. And just from a simple, dumb idea, you know, just having that saddle, it's like having a tool. It's like having a hammer or a crescent wrench or a pair of vice grips or a screwdriver. When you need it, you know, you got to have it. So this thing, it's always on there, and it gives you so many functions, but not only just functions, it's actually outperforming. So, and I stand behind that. I know there may be companies out there that say there's no way you're going to outperform my stabilizer in shooting. I will put this against you, anybody in the world, head to head, any day of the week. So if you want to, let's get it. So the Mule stabilizer, guys, was built first time. I say built, it was, the idea was to help me carry my bow, to take the pressure off, or actually was to take that irritation off. And then, but when I grabbed that bow, and when I put my arm down, I was like, holy moly, that leverage that backed up against the back of my forearm, and the weight of this bow, especially when it had a quiver on it with a little more extra weight, it took, I'm telling you guys, 65–70% of the weight of the bow, it took it away. Like it just takes the weight away just because of the leverage. And it locks into your forearm, takes all that weight away, right? Then when I turned it over, upside down, grabbed the grip, put the saddle on top of your forearm, and I put my arm down, I mean, I don't know, man. If y'all seen it in person, if y'all felt it, you know what I'm talking about when I have this loss for words, because it takes about 90% of the bow's weight away. I mean, you can hold it with one finger. I mean, it's just like the bow is gone. So when you're walking, that makes a big difference. To take all that fatigue off of your shoulders, off your arms, off your wrists, off your fingers, off your everything, especially when you're in the backcountry, especially when you're on an important hunt, to be able to do that, and then when it comes, you know, crunch time, all that fatigue is not there, right? So if you have to hold a long time and you're in that shot, and all your arms and everything isn't worn out from carrying your bow all day long, you're going to execute a better shot, right? You have more of a probability of making a better shot because you're not wore out. So it has helped me a ton hunting. It has helped me a ton carrying, walking. I mean, now this is like, you see what I just did here. It's also a bow stand, which that fact came after. I didn't even realize it was going to do that until I set my bow down and it stood by itself. With this dumb thing, it stood up. I'm like, holy moly, wait a minute. You know, more things just started going in my head. So one of the best bow stand features that you're ever going to find on the market, right? So as you can tell, your cams are off the ground, your strings are off the ground, your cables, your sight, your limbs, your arrow rest, your everything is off the ground, not touching dirt, not touching rocks, not touching sticks, not touching anything that's going to damage your bow while you're in the field. That's the last thing you want, right? You don't want no nicks on anything. You don't want your bow to blow up in your face because you set it down on its cam or on the side or blew your, you know, messed up your side or whatever it is. So you got a little bit of contact here on your limb pocket, but that thing is tough and built on every bow to you know, to withstand that. The stabilizer, you're not going to hurt it, you're not going to mess it up, you're not going to damage it. 70 durometer, American made plastisol PVC with an extra added ridge on the very end right there to give you even more protection. So that thing just stands, man. And I mean, look at it. I mean, I've got videos of people like, oh, it's gonna fall over, blah blah blah. Man, I've got videos in Montana where it's standing up with the wind hitting it directly from the side, and it's just standing there. You can see the flags, you can see boots laying over, and everything's blowing down, and this thing is still standing. So I mean, it's a little windy right now, but one of the best bow stand features you're ever gonna find. And just, I mean, I know it's coming from me. I'm a little biased, obviously, because I love this thing. I built it. It was my stupid idea. However, look at it. I mean, I'm not a sales guy. I don't like sales. I don't know how to sell. I don't even like people. But look what it's doing right there in front of you. I mean, I don't have to really sell it. It's doing what it needs to do. It's protecting your bow. And it's the only bow stand that does that. So, other cool thing is, like if you're out in the pasture and it's raining or whatever, you can find a tree, you can find a limb, you find whatever it is, and that saddle will hang on to it and the bow will hang. And right now it's just sitting there rocking off a plastic table, so you can just find a limb, find a tree, find whatever and hang it up, right? So I don't know how many functions we've already just talked about, but I had to write them down. We had, you know, obviously it's ambidextrous. You can carry it both hands, you know, both arms. Right hand, if you start getting wore out, upside down on your top of your forearm, right, upper, lower, left, upper, lower. So right there, that's 4 different functions, right? I have this little thing that I do if I'm hunting in high brush. I'll saddle this thing on the top of my shoulder and just kind of wade through the brush, you know, just keep everything out. You know, if we got stickers and all that kind of real sharp, you know, oak brush that's like in Colorado where I hunt, that'll grab a hold of your cams and strings that get stuck inside there. If y'all have ever had that happen and you go to try to pull and it's, you know, it's tearing up your serving and stuff like that. So set this saddle right here on top of your shoulder, wade through that brush, you get through it, you know, saddle it back up and, you know, get back after it. So a shoulder carry is pretty cool. Spot and stalk aid. So instead of laying your bow down when you're spotting and stalking, if you're on your hands and knees, and you might hit something or, you know, tear up your cam or again, nick your string or your cable, I like to take this thing and stand it straight this way, grab a hold of the stabilizer here and use the saddle as kind of like a walking aid and just kind of inch up, you know, inch up and do that. And what also that's doing is protecting your hand, your shooting hand or your bow hand, either one. You switch it from side to side, protecting you from getting your hand poked or cut or whatever it is. So, man, lots of cool features. But I'm gonna try to go through these as fast as I can. So, forward FOC weight. So this is the 10-inch Mach 7. It's 8.8 ounces total, 6.5 FOC. So FOC forward of center. So you have forward of center here, 6.5. So it's got a gradual FOC, forward of center weight, right? It doesn't have that hard drop off at the end like all the carbon rods with the weight stacked at the very end, you know, which obviously when you draw that bow back with one of those other stabilizers, it has that hard drop off. It's like immediately doing this number, right? So you need to have offsets. You got to spend more money, more time to offset it, and then still a longer hold, you still got to do this number back and forth to try to find it, just because it's so hard dropped off. And you can fine tune those things, but you've got to spend more time, you got to spend more money, and then you have way more weight in a hunting rig that you don't really want, right? So this thing is, for what it is, 8.8 ounces total, super light, right? However, the machined weight in this body gives you that perfect balance and that gradual balance you need for a hunting rig, plus the stability you need to maintain fast pin settle, right? Full draw, fast pin settle, ain't none of this hard drop off back and forth. This weight is so gradual, just whenever you draw back and lock in, your pin is fast settling, right? So the stabilization part of this product is beating everybody. I mean, it just is, which I love about it. Which is kind of crazy, because at first I didn't build it for that. I built it for function. But as it grew and as I tried to make it better, it has performed. And now I've kind of gotten into the science of it, and even though I'm not very smart, I figured out just shooting it and building it and understanding different material and vibration and resonance that I can make it better, and I can make it perform, and I can make it outperform, and I did. So pretty awesome. Dual ports. So you got one port in the front, 5/16/24. You got a 5/16/24 port on the bottom in the front, right? So that can, if you want to add whatever you want to it, to the front, add another stabilizer, add weights to the bottom. I mean, basically it's just a ported tapped hole 5/16/24, so you can add pretty much anything you want to with that thread, or, you know, we can make brackets to add anything else. On top of that, it's also tapped up and down the bar for a Picatinny rail. So the cool thing about that is once you put a pick rail on it, I mean, y'all know, it's like a Barbie doll, right? Put whatever dress you want to on it after that. Lights, camera, action, send it, right? So, dampening. So, you know, when I first made this thing, it was like a solid bar, no dampening properties, no nothing, it would just function, right? And now, the Mach 7, I've really, you know, dialed it in to all the way down to the different durometer of dampeners inside here. So 60 durometer neoprene and rubber mix, which is going to give you way better dampening. But the other cool thing is longevity, right? So other rubbers and anything else you see, if y'all know, if y'all seen them before, when you get it in the heat, you get it in the cold, you get it wet, you get dirty, they start to shrink, or they deteriorate and they turn gummy, or they fall apart. This ain't gonna do this, ever. Lifetime warranty on any of this dampening, and particularly the Plastisol PVC. That's never going anywhere. I mean, that 70 durometer, that stuff is tough. I mean, look at the dexterity on that stuff. I mean, this stuff is just, I mean, it's bulletproof. So that's the real cool thing about the dampening properties of, you know, the Mule stabilizer. So the old Mule stabilizer had the locking handle. So it had the adjustable locking handle there on the side. So you can pull this thing, adjust it where you want to. You know, it also gave you the feature to grab a hold to a pocket, a backpack, you know, whatever it is. So when you need a glass or stop just real quick, you don't have to worry about setting it down or hanging it or wherever it is you want to put it. Just, you know, saddle that thing or hook that thing in your pocket and you're good, right? Well, now the Mach 7's got a Mule lock. See that thing there? So the new Mule lock on the Mach 7 is a solid machined 4-spoke locking system. See that right there? It's also got a little back cut on it. So I'll show you what that does, but that's your quick connect knob right there, right? So the body comes out of the Mule mount. It goes on your bow, stays on your bow, don't ever come off your bow. And then the body of the Mule stabilizer slides into the mount. The Mule lock goes in on the side. Tighten that bad boy down. It's got 4 good spokes, so you can really get some real estate on there to grab a hold of it and tight it as tight as you can get it. And then the little back cuts on there. So it's just like the old, let me get my old MKC out real quick. The Mule lock's just like the old handle, just a solid piece. Designed different, but it still has the same function. So it's going to be utilized for your quick connect to take your Mule stabilizer out of your mount. Plus, it could also hang on your pocket. It'll hang on your pack. It'll hang from a tree. It'll hang, I don't know if it'll hang from this table right here, but, well, I mean, this thing just keeps doing all kinds of stuff, man. So, you know, and what I did is machine that thing so it sticks out. It's got a 3/4 inch shoulder. See that 3/4 inch shoulder? So it comes away from the riser a little bit. So it gives you more area just to, you know, grab a hold, right? So look at us grabbing a hold of my shirt. But that's got a, you see, it's got a little back cut, like a little hook. See that right there? A little hook on there. I mean, I know for y'all seeing that, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that takes a lot to do, guys. This to machine this little thing, and to give it this back cut and give it this design and give it, you know, all this stuff, and then insert a bolt in it and Loctite it, and it's a lot, guys, especially all this stuff. As y'all know me, y'all know what I do, what I stand on, and what I stand for. 100% American made, right? So it's not this Chinese made crap that we can get them made in bulk and they ship them over here. No, we're making these things one at a time from American sourced materials by Americans for Americans. So, and that's what I stand on. That's what I'm gonna continue to stand on. So the Mule lock for the new Mach 7 Superior. So let's talk more about the Mach 7. I'm gonna come over there to y'all because y'all need to see this. All right, so check this out. So now the Mach 7, look at these real cool tactical cross cuts I put in here. So what I did here is try to change the resonance of the bar itself and then lighten up the body some. So what that did is I had a couple people say, oh, they love the stabilizer, but they think it's a little heavy. But I mean, total weight's 8.8 ounces, super light. You know, there's really not much to it. So I made it just a hair lighter. I think if we go too light, we'll mess with integrity. So I tried to keep it still in that realm of hard to beat, you know, can't beat American made, but still give it a real cool look. And then we added an extra pass-through hole in the front. So that's gonna lighten up the bar a little more. And then of course we have the Mule lock that we just talked about. The Mule lock is pretty darn awesome. Still has the Mule mount. And the reason for the Mule mount, guys, is because this thing has got to be indexed in a certain position to utilize it. So the Mule mount was built and designed to index this stabilizer with the saddle facing up, right? So you can carry your bow, set your bow down, stand your bow, all the features of the Mule stabilizer. So the Mule stabilizer Mach 7 is the new one. It's got the new artwork on there, which I love. My buddy Dristy over there in Idaho did that for me. Look at that. Can't beat American made, the Mule stabilizer. Pretty awesome. So it's still, guys, 5/16/24. People have asked me about, you know, will it fit this bow or fit that bow or this bow or whatever. Guys, this is a normal stabilizer mounting bolt. Okay, so it'll go in a 5/16/24 port on any bow on the market. Right? Okay, let's shoot a couple. Don't look at me. Don't look at this awesome camouflage I got. Look at the bow. Watch the bow when the shot breaks, and listen to what you're not going to hear. So it's going to be super quiet. And watch what this Mach 7 is doing. Especially like if you got any kind of target panic or shot anticipation, it's all about that bow going off, right? Listen to this. I mean, we'll shoot another one, you know, just to show you there's one perfect dead center of the 12 ring around there. I'm gonna try to hit that arrow just for fun. Listen to this bow, watch the reaction of the bow, watch everything, and tell me what you think the stabilizer can do. That almost hit the other arrow. But look at my bow. I mean, look how steady it is. Listen to how quiet it is. And just think about, you know, if you're hunting in a hunting scenario, how quiet you want that bow to be, how steady you want it to be, how much anticipation you don't want to have, right? You want that bow, you want muscle memory, right? So if you got a stabilizer that's helping you do that, that's a 1/4 inch group at 25, the new MACH setting. Okay, let's shoot one more. Don't, mind you, don't look at me. Don't look at this awesome camo and these freaking Moab pants I got. Don't look at that. Watch the bow. I mean, listen to the bow and watch the reaction of the bow when that shot goes off. Check out what this Mach 7 is doing. You just can't beat American made, I'm telling you. Oh yeah, shoot a bull, they said. Go way back in there, 2 miles in by yourself and shoot a bull. It'll be fun. Well, it's fun, I tell you. I got one more back quarter, one shoulder, and the head left to get out. I got everything else out. Here's a young 4x5 that had a big body. I'm about, I don't know, 5,000 elevation maybe, somewhere around there. It's pretty high for a Texan, but man, I love these mountains. I was standing in the wide open, right next to a stump, and this bull came in 30 yards broadside. Look at my hands. That's success right there, buddy. Covered in blood. Everything I got's covered in blood. This is living. If y'all don't bow hunt elk in the mountains, or bow hunt period, go buy a bow. Go buy the Mule stabilizer. Get you some VPA broadheads. Get in the mountains and send it. That's all I got left. I'm gonna try to get all that in one load, one pack. Let's go. You know, some people ask, why you gotta be in shape to go elk hunting? Yeah, I've got 2 quarters, the rear quarter, and the front quarter, and I'm carrying the head. I don't know how far. It's a long ways. You gotta be in shape to do this. This is so fun. Yeah, go bow hunting.